Well, hello there. I was drinking one of those too before this panel. Gotta keep the energy up.
This is coffee, just kind of live on.
How are you today?
I am very well. How is everybody doing?
A little bit. You definitely had some diehards sitting outside for a while waiting to see you.
Aw, thank you.
How does that make you feel? Is that flattering or is it kind of freaky?
It's not freaky at all. It's surreal. It's just like, yeah, it's me.
And then you see individuals that are dressed as you?
I took some pictures with them earlier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Well, again, if you have a question for AJ, go ahead, feel free to line up. And she was one of the diehards waiting in line for a while, so we won't make her wait any longer.
Okay.
Just a little.
So, I was just wondering, do you have any advice for a child or anyone who wants to be a future WWE diva?
Yeah, I guess it's like well documented that I wanted to do this since I was 12 and was very serious about it. And so I think a lot of times you can be, however young you are, saying the most grand of goals, and people kind of don't believe you because they think you're young, you're not serious. But I was so serious. So anytime anyone tells me that, I take it seriously. Oh, come on. He's like, call now.
I'll find a way around that.
Yes, so I take it seriously, and so if you have my support, that's something you want to do. I hope you're kicking my butt one day. But it is. Okay, but I kind of think of it, and the stock answer is take care of school and have that actual backup plan. But for as far as wrestling, like take it in little steps. Like for me, I didn't have a wrestling team. I didn't have any sports that were would kind of help me there. So I took drama classes, and I tried cheerleading, and little things I thought would kind of help me get there. And I also thought I was going to be like a writer in like the WWE. Like, that's the only way I could possibly get in. So I studied writing and like actually did that in college. And it just take it little step by step, and you can eventually make the giant goal actually happen.
Awesome, and you are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Diva ever.
I didn't get to be a hype person.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite part about wrestling?
It's funny because there's so much time that is kind of spent on everything else, and then we're out there for like 5 minutes. So it's that 5 minutes that's really it makes every kind of headache before and after worth it. It's just nothing in the world like just being in the ring for however long I get to. How are you going to reach that?
Teamwork.
Why did you want to be in the WWE?
My brother was like my best friend growing up, and my sister was the girliest of girly girls, and my brother, was into comics and wrestling, and so I just kind of followed everything that he did, and just sat down just because he was, watching it, and actually fell in love with myself, and so I just decided really early. So I have to credit my brother for all of this.
Would you like to skip with us 3 at the end?
Yes, I would love to.
Now, that young lady there is actually kind of dangerous. Let me tell you, when it comes to people waiting to get in, there was nobody louder and more aggressive. I was a bit fearful for my life.
Well, when you're tiny, you have to, pack a harder punch.
And that she does. That she does. Superman.
First of all, what's your favorite video game?
My favorite video game? Of all time, I always kind of toss up between Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy X. I love Final Fantasy X. everyone gives me that reaction. They like 7 more, or 3, like 10. I'm all about it. It's supposed to come out on like Vita too at some point, but I just have to get that. But right now, I very late discovered Skyrim, and I'm obsessed with it. I know it's like 3 years later, but that's all I do. I go home and I put on sweats, and I don't have a lot of friends.
Me neither.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Okay.
We have video games.
My second question is, what's your favorite superhero in Marvel and DC?
Ooh, I think growing up, I was more of a Marvel girl, and I was really kind of connected with Jean Grey and kind of all forms of her. I've said it before a lot, like the Dark Phoenix saga is what made me start writing at a really young age. Like I just thought that was really interesting. And then now I kind of have such a love for Harley Quinn, so I guess I'd be both sides of the coin.
The crazy ones?
There's a thread there.
Speak like Harley Quinn in DC. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you said both.
Oh, good.
I got you.
I'm nervous, okay? Villains. Who's your favorite villain?
Well, I guess Harley's kind of a villain.
Oh, duh.
I don't know. I think like in wrestling, I am the type that kind of goes for more of the villains, but I think in comics I'm on the side of the good guys usually.
Can I have a hug?
Oh yeah, of course.
I think this is the time where we say no repeat questions. We got the skipping and the hugging out of the way.
I jumped off the stage, but it was like impossible for me to just step up. So I feel your pain.
Well, how did you develop the Black Widow signature move?
When I was in FCW, Norman Smiley, who's an older wrestler, he was a trainer there, and he thought it would be something that would be useful for me, and taught it to me.
Okay, one more thing that I have to say. I'm the person who gave you those comics.
Oh yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm about to ask a question that I think everyone would like to know. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the possibility of you going against Lita at WrestleMania 30?
Oh man, I would love to. I think there's people that I've always looked up to, and that aren't with the company anymore, like Lita and Trish and Molly and Victoria, who actually kind of stops by a lot, and I always get to be kind of excited because I'm like, just one more match. So if it were up to me, and if I would make all my dream matches happen, like those women and Stephanie. Oh my gosh, that would probably So I wish, but it's not up to me.
What persona of your character do you like better, the crazy girl face or the crazy girl heel?
I don't know. It's fun to. It's funny because when it was supposed to be, I guess the good guy. I was a terrible person. Like I was putting people through tables and just making out with anyone, and that's not a good guy. And then I had a steady boyfriend and a loving relationship when I was the bad guy, and so that was weird. It was I'm not doing anything wrong. We were a happy couple. It was so odd. And then now I'm kind of it's more of who I really am. On commentary, it's just me cracking jokes and just trying to humor myself and see how far I can get until I get in trouble. And so it's so now it's somewhere in the middle, and yet I'm still kind of a bad guy, but now they cheer for me. So it's never been black or white. So I've never considered myself one or the other. It's always just been somewhere in the middle. Thank you.
Now, when you do commentary, is that something you're giving a lot of notice on, or just an hour before the show, hey, go out and talk?
Sometimes, yeah, it could be last minute, or I'll know maybe 5 or 6 o'clock that day. And I think the first time I ever had it was on NXT, and I had to be Hornswoggle M&Ms or something like that, and I was just like having a panic attack because like talking was not like this thing I wanted to ever thought I would be able to do. And now it's like I kind of beg for it because I really try to get in trouble. Like I try to see, and then the fun thing is they have such a good sense of humor about things and an open mind when it comes to the shades of gray. And I'll always get a handshake and they'll always be like, excellent job. And it makes everybody else angry.
Excellent job, you're like,
but it's like the most fun thing to do. I can't wait. And I never plan anything, I just like to go out there and just crack on people.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hi.
Me and the Pikachu.
Pikachu.
I got a few questions. The first one is, what decided to have you decide to get that tattoo in the back of your neck for the date?
Well, everyone in my family is like covered in tattoos, and my parents had us really young and are kind of forward thinking. And so when I was 15, they were like, didn't have a lot of money, and they knew a guy that did tattoos, but and he would tattoo me for free. And I was 15, and my parents were like, yeah, go for it. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do my homework now. So I was very much like a parent growing up. So I thought I would never get a tattoo, and kind of just thought if I did, it would have to be something that meant a lot to me. And so it represents the title, but what it to me really represents is a 14-year struggle and kind of fight to get out of poverty and a life that was, barely livable. And the end goal was always, this, and to just be able to say I was the best. And I got to do it, and so just mark it on and kind of figure out what the next goal is.
Speaking of which, when you had that feud with Caitlin, we all know that you're still friends with her. How do you feel that connected on screen and off screen?
I think it's always best when people working together get along, and it's easier to punch your best friend in the face, I think. There's something like, that they'll forgive you. But there was just something about that, especially that time where there was so much creative liberty, and so much of it was our suggestions and just kind of stuff that we really had our hands in. So not only are we like super proud of I think the chemistry that we had, but we're proud of it because we felt like we were a big part of the creative process. And it's like not, I guess it's not like super known, but I think maybe like 5 or 6 times segments that were just me and her were the number one rated segment on Raw and SmackDown. And to 2 girls that are just from NXT, kind of nobodies, and women, that's insane. So I don't know if we'll ever get that better than that time.
Last one is, how do you feel to be part of the WWE comics that's out right now?
I haven't got to read them at all, but I got a pretty awesome Christmas present that was the original artwork for the cover one of the covers that I'm on, and it's like a Fantastic Four remake. It's like, so I'm like doing like the Invisible Girls pose. It's so cool. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk about your segments being some of the higher rated segments. Will we ever in our lifetime see a WrestleMania headlined by Divas?
Oh gosh. Realistically, no. Just because
The man keeping you down?
I don't know. I think the women that are here now and have been here before would have been the ones. And I look toward the future and hope that there's that other generation that pops up. But if it's not right now, or if it wasn't 7 years ago, it would have to be in 5 or 10 years, or who knows? I don't know if we have that yet, that magic. I wish, oh my God, I wish. I don't even know if we'd be able to get a main event on Raw or SmackDown ever again. Because it depends. But to have 2 women that got #1 rated segment, I think. I hope they remember that. I hope they can see that people care, about girls and a story, and so fingers crossed. I'm in it.
That would be outstanding.
Are
Hi, AJ.
Hi.
Hope you enjoyed the Swedish fish that I bought for you.
Thanks.
I have a couple questions as well. I guess it was the pipe bombshell
Yes.
moment. I wonder what the reaction was from the other divas and everybody else backstage when you came back through the curtain. Like, what was that? Was Mitch just like, really? Okay.
Deafening silence. Yeah, it's funny because who I am is just very quiet and I'm not. I say anything that like I think, I just kind of say it. Like, but other than that, I'm super quiet. I'm not a troublemaker, and so every time I go out, I turn into this kind of douchey jerk, and it's so different. And I hope people can see that it's our job. It's okay. You can make all the noise you want, baby. I hope people can tell the difference between what is necessary for us. It's like taking your medicine. No one wants to take your medicine. It tastes disgusting, but it's going to make you feel better. So, this is kind of rude and terrible and rude to be honest what I'm saying, but it's going to help us all in the long run.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I saw it, and it really did for a while. And I think it could have been much better if the professionalism surrounding it backstage was a little bit more, just a little bit better. And okay, let's move forward with this, So it was a little disappointing.
I was so excited. I was like, me and Marcus were like, what? I raised him and Dylan were like, oh, we care what the divas say, but they were like, it was amazing. Oh my god. So yeah, I feel like they kind of got dropped too, but
I think
it would have been awesome.
I really wish we had done a little bit more with that. I think it wasn't in order to keep everyone happy,
Right.
which
And my other question is, I'm also a huge Stephanie big fan, Mark. I feel like to be next to her.
yeah.
So I just wondered what advice or she has given you any at all about your career or anything like that. Just kind of, have you picked her brain at all, or?
I have so much, and I kind of I'm there's probably no one that I get super giggly and nervous around. Still to this day, I will turn around and see her. I'm it's so bad.
I grew up with her. You really grew up watching her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And she was always just here, and so I'm so terrible and embarrassing. I think she's just always so uncomfortable. But she's one of those people that is genuinely sweet and warm and helpful. So I've gone to her a lot just for stuff backstage, for just general, how do I manage all this craziness. And there was actually maybe one of the coolest moments of my life. I was out there for commentary, I can't remember, maybe right after the pipe bombshell, and all the announcers were really tearing into me.
I remember that, yeah.
I was not prepared for that,
Yeah.
and I didn't think that happened, and I was just kind of
Give it back.
yeah, and I thought I was gonna get in a lot of trouble, and I saw her backstage, and she was like, "Whoa, you were not to be messed with," and I was like, "Well, they were attacking me. I had to attack back. It was real out there," and then she came to me the next week, and she said, "Thank you for reminding me that you have to. It has to be real. You have to really feel it and react." And so that was for her to say anything like that to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You hear a lot about method acting and people really getting into the roles and characters. You talked about being the douchey jerk. Is that you ever find yourself at moments where you forgot to turn that off, maybe?
I don't. Okay. I
Yes.
me and Caitlin, have a joke, but there's probably curse words in it. But I'm so honest and just at all times. And Tweety was actually saying the other day, she's like, "You aren't always the nicest person, but I always know you're going to say the truth." Because if someone's like, "Oh my God, this dress is so great," I'm like, "Oh, it's terrible." I can't. So that part is just who I am. I think stuff is funny. I think it's funny to kind of brag. This is my sense of humor, and I'm never mean-spirited. I think some people don't get that. I think some people like to be super sweet and phony all the time, and I'm not that. So I guess that's difficult. But I think the like method stuff was a lot more difficult and interesting. It was like I'd have to have breakdowns every week because I would have to go to a very dark place to do that. That was so much fun.
Dark places,
Yeah.
what a blast.
Well, her first question was going to be mine, so I'm going to ask you the other two questions I'm going to ask you. Flair or Dusty?
What was that?
Flair or Dusty?
I love Dusty because I've worked with him in FCW, and so I have to kind of I'm biased, and I credit him for a lot of what I've learned. And then on the other side, I've also had Flair pelvic thrust at my face. It's funny. It's kind of the common man versus I think something that's the opposite for me. So I think I would always go for Dusty, but I do have that respect for Flair.
Dusty's the right answer. And my final question is, can you explain to us how to install the WWE app?
Not quite yet.
'Cause Michael Cole does a terrible job.
Thank you for that comment on Raw.
That was so much fun. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Hi.
So I really love NXT, and I think everyone who's come up has really just added so much. And I've been super excited to see more NXT ladies getting pulled up. And I was just sort of wondering, like, if you've got any recommendations on who to really be watching for.
The really cool thing, and I don't mean this in a way to knock any real girls now, because I mean they wouldn't be making money and traveling and on television if they weren't talented. But there's something different about the NXT girls in which I think they know who they are a little bit better. And that makes such a difference because they're these very unique packages in one, and then there's like 7 of them that are just, and that I've never seen so many girls that are so talented already before they're even at the big stage. And it will go so far to kind of know who you are. Like I remember before our NXT, which was like flashbacks of that in the night. But I was gonna debut with Dolph, which is hilarious actually, years before. When he was with Vicky, I was gonna do something with them, and I didn't know what to wear. And I was just like, oh, like, do I get just a dress? And I had no idea. I just didn't know who I was, or wasn't confident enough to make that decision and wear my sneakers and not care. So I would have been completely different. I would have been stuck in a mold if it had happened too early like that. These girls are braver than that. Like they are who they are now. And I think we just had Emma come up, and she's really cute and just like a good person. She's like really respectful. And Paige, I've worked before, and she's just a breeze and so talented. I have a very, very special love for Bailey. I don't know if you got to see a lot of her stuff, but she's so good and so funny. And I think that we have like an open mind with all those girls and kind of showcase them for who they are and not try to make them something else. We'll have such an amazing division in a couple of years.
That's sort of what I think. I mean, you can actually care. I don't want to sound mean, but you can care a little more about the NXT girls because they're more than just a pie sitting face on the top of the rope. Like, it's really great to see that.
I mean, it's
not that
true.
there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, we do. I mean, and I've said it too. I think we need the beautiful, tall, Barbie-like blondes because it makes the pages different. Because if they were all pages, then nothing would be different. But you need like the Summers and those very traditional, gorgeous girls to make the other girls, different. So there is a balance. We need a little bit of everything, but we just need to, push the girls that are different. Thank you. Thank you.
She asked about NXT, which is about to be shown weekly on the WWE Network.
Yes.
And assuming you're interested, will the WWE hook you up with a network, or do you have to pay to get your own network?
Oh gosh, I haven't asked that question.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, like we don't get pay-per-views or anything. I mean, we can sit down and cater and watch them, and then we'll get like the DVD. But if I wanted to order it, I'd have to. Like my mom is always so mad that she has to order the pay-per-views. She's like, you're on it.
It's like a always heard that you guys have to like buy your own like action figures and whatnot. If you know.
I will say they're very, very, very generous. Like for like merch and action figures and stuff, I just kind of like ask, and then I'll get like a box sent to me. And
Then you need to tell Kofi to ask, because Kofi loves telling a story about how he gets busted at Toys R Us buying himself.
Hi. First, Final Fantasy X was my favorite too.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I have two questions. I was in the crowd at the Rumble, and I was one of the vocal majority that was a little upset with things. And when we chanted, "We want Divas," speaking for myself, I was upset you weren't on the card. But my question is, what can we really do as fans? What really counts the most towards helping our favorites, you, get where we want you to be and where you want to be? Is it buying merchandise, making signs, chanting, yelling? What helps the most?
It's a good question.
That is a very good question. And also during the Rumble, I thought that was just an ironically we want Divas.
Not for me.
It was the only thing.
Gosh, I don't know. Sometimes kind of all the stars can align and you can do the absolute best that you can do and still lose. And sometimes that happens. I don't know. It's sometimes just there's a big picture that maybe you guys can't see and we can't see ourselves, that whoever's kind of the powers that be can see. And we just kind of have to trust and go along with it and see what happens. When it comes to Divas, I think it does, if people are loud, they care during their matches, if merchandise and stuff like that does make a difference. I'll tell you a story. A year ago, I had a bunch of people like tweeting me, like, oh, you should have a shirt. And so I started to just take little screen caps of every tweet, and I'd get like hundreds and send them to shop, and they were like, no, girls don't sell. And a year later, they were like, okay. And I go back and forth between being like the number 4, number 5, like top seller. And they were like, oh, okay. And now I had like 30 or 40 things on shop, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, let's make other girls things. And so little things like that, like sometimes there needs to be a really, really long fight, and then once they see it works, they'll kind of open their mind to everyone. So they'll probably start seeing a lot more like girl shirts and girl merchandise and stuff now. So I expect a little bit of like kickback from every girl.
Nice.
But so I don't have the answer. I wish I did, but sometimes it's it takes a long time.
Right. Okay. Second question. I teach college full-time for a living, and I needed to give a pep talk to one of my classes. So I essentially borrowed from Mick Foley when he gave one to Edge and cut a promo on my class. Have you learned anything in wrestling that you apply to your real life?
I don't know. I guess this sounds super cheesy, but not being afraid to say whatever's on your mind, or just be who you are. And like NXT, as the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me, it was so terrifying. But if I didn't go put sneakers on and leave my hair messy and not wear that much makeup and just be who I am and like do the robot handshake behind people's backs, I wouldn't have realized that that's what's going to make me money and make me successful if I just wasn't brave. And so like having those opportunities in wrestling to just kind of like grow a pair and just go for something kind of makes you realize in real life like what's going to happen if you tell people how you feel, if you just do the what is not the safe choice, or take that risk. And that's kind of how that has mixed in real life and in wrestling. I will always do what seems like the harder choice. Then sometimes it does not pay off, but sometimes it does. So.
All right, thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Good. As long as just a little butterflies in my stomach. I have actually about 2 questions for you. One is, growing up with the WWE for actually about nearly all my life. I just turned 28 today, and
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
You look so young.
I would guess you're like 16.
Wow.
It's a good thing.
Thank you. And growing up watching wrestling with my grandmother when I was young, before she passed, and she always does watch wrestling. and noticed that through the generations actually came through these new top star wrestlers and everything, especially watching from the Divas like Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, coming up to see China and Jazz, and these new stars that came out, especially from NXT. My question is, what would your legacy be when you leave the WWE? That is, if you decide to still be a part of the company for the rest of your career or your life.
Oh gosh. I feel like if I left tomorrow, I will have done it the exact way that I dreamed of, and that's super comforting. And I will have done everything that I ever wanted to do. And I just wanted to be seen as something different and be successful and do things that girls hadn't done before while staying me and doing it my way. And I've gotten to do that. And it took them being very open-minded to, have someone who was completely new and didn't really look like the other girls and didn't dress like them, and to put them in a position with, top guys. And so they kind of answered all my prayers when it came to that. So I hope that what I leave is for the girls that come after me. So people don't think, okay, we can't have someone like a Bailey or a Paige be successful. I want them to look and be like, well, AJ did it, So that's what I always wanted to do, and as Caitlin and I discussed this as she was kind of leaving, was that I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving until I knew that I left in a better place than when I came in. For women.
And a secondary question, I know it's not off the subject, but going to cons and going to these events especially, and you look at everyone dressing up, have you ever considered actually doing cosplay work?
Oh man, I try to do it I've had a couple opportunities when we had our Halloween costume battle royals or whatever. And I was Raphael 1 year, and I was Katana, which is the closest I've ever come to because I have such an obsession with Katana, and I tried the fan lift on Tamina, and I did it with her, so I just threw the fan at her. But I remember for an entire year, it was the only thing good I ever did. But so yeah, I try to do that. If I can on television. They had a whole Harley outfit ready, but they changed the plans I think a year ago. I was so sad. I was dying to be Harley on TV.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi. Oh my God, this is falling for me. Okay. So that actually is related to my question. So I'm super short. I'm wearing large heels. You're great. And when I was younger, I had wanted to be a diva. And I totally gave up on that because I'm short and I never ever want to get certain things enhanced. And so I was wondering, how is it that you're tiny and adorable and you so how did you get to do that?
The funny thing, and I sound like a motivational speaker all the time, but the funniest thing to me is things that people will look at and say are your biggest obstacle into doing something. You just have to turn it around and make it what makes you special and will be the biggest benefit to you. So being half of a person and and being sort of prepubescent and stuff at the time worked. I don't think the Daniel Bryan, me being meek and quiet and in that abusive relationship would have worked if I was this buxom bombshell. I don't think it would have worked if it wasn't this kind of meek, average girl. And so just kind of the stars align, and I am I can't wear anything but Target tank tops and sneakers. I can't, and I think that works. There are girls that need that to see that on TV, and I was very adamant about that, and it was really hard, but and it works. So I just kind of stopped. Someone mentioned Lita before. She gave me this really great advice. She said, you can't be a crappy version of a hot girl.
Yeah.
Because like, and not to be like super self-deprecating, but I don't look like those girls. I'm not those girls, and I'm okay with that. Like I love who I am. She said, don't be a crappy version of those girls. Be the best version of yourself. Which that will get you everywhere, and that's kind of my advice to every woman, just in general in life, but also if you do want to get in this.
I also love you as a heel. It's like my favorite.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I've been wrestling kind of my whole life, and my perception of what it takes to be a good wrestler would involve athleticism and technique and mic skills and charisma, all the things that the guys have and that the women have had over the years. But when I watched you over the last few years in WWE develop, there's something more. There's a lot more in-depth personality to your character, and I've always wondered when watching you if you had any type of a formal background in acting, because to me, very few wrestlers or entertainers in the wrestling industry have been able to accomplish the range of personality and emotion and body language. It's not just getting over and selling the character, but your acting ability alone is, maybe 10 wrestlers in the history of wrestling have been able to accomplish that. So I wonder, do you have any kind of formal training, or is it just all coming from inside?
Oh, well, first, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I appreciate that. I studied film and television. I was interested in like the opposite side of the camera. I was never super comfortable being looked at. So I just like wrote stories and stuff my whole life. So I think that like element of drama was just always in my head, and I was always a fan. So I think knowing the business and like something about that makes you kind of know what the right reactions are, the right moments, and just from what you've seen and I don't know. I just but I never acted or anything like that. But I joke about it before. But like when it comes to weird stuff or kind of those darker moments on TV, like you kind of have to be willing to shut something off in your brain and kind of mess yourself up a little bit and go there. And I would always be super messed up after too, like like after certain things, I'd just be like freaking out, like oh god, like just super antsy and like that was really fun to me. That's like an experiment, like that's like art to me, I don't know. I do see it as art, like it's not a job. It's not it's not just like a sport to me. It is. We're all artists. And I think that's why some people get like super frustrated sometimes, or you can get like so happy depending on where you are, because it is your art and how if you're not expressing yourself as much as you want to be, it can be super frustrating. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Secondarily, on that same subject line, to me, I don't know about these guys if they agree, but I could see after you stop wrestling, one of the few females to ever take it to like, maybe not action star like The Rock, but definitely lots of versatile roles on TV or in film. Is that something that you think about after wrestling?
No, thank you though. It's funny because like my parents never really got this, and so they think it's really cool, but they sort of don't understand the scale of it. And my mom's like, "You should be in a soap opera," like to them that's like what's really cool. So like I would be successful if I did that. It's like I'm on TV, but I've never been interested in A, doing anything other than this, but B, being like known. Like it's very weird to me to like not be in the ring and like you guys know who I am, and that's really weird to me. Like like to me, like I walk out and I'm like I'm April, and it's I'm a writer, I do the behind the scenes stuff, so it's odd to kind of be in the limelight. So I don't think it's anything I would ever chase. But I always joked that like I would love to be in like video game remake movies, or just do anything where I could hold a sword, like that'd be cool. But no, I don't really have any interest in that.
Well, we love your range, and we
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're starting to run along on time, so if we could keep the rest of the questions to one question per person, that'd be great. Thanks.
Have you ever played Flappy Bird?
What was that?
Have you ever played Flappy Bird?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
She was really disappointed and other people were screaming good.
Oh no, it's Flappy Bird. No, I don't know. Now I'll never know.
You're a bird, and you gotta dodge pipes, and it gets harder every...
Oh, it's like an app or something.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm really big into Bejeweled right now. I'm obsessed with it.
Okay. So, favorite WWE general manager ever goes to you.
Thank
Has
you.
to be.
Miss the pantsuits.
I miss those as well, to be honest. Although your in-ring entrance is now far more interesting. So, sadly disregarding he who should not be named best in the world, who is your favorite person to valet/work with?
Gosh. That's difficult. I really loved I think it was like 9 months that Adolph and I were together, because it was, I think the first time was kind of like a team effort, whereas before I was very much a student. Just kind of taking direction and being like super open-minded. But it was fun to like be a part of it, of the process more, and to just, you know, slap everybody every match. But I don't know, I think in my heart, like what my favorite time will always be was the Punk Brian Kane fiasco. That was, those guys were amazing and so helpful, and made me the capable of what I am today.
Thank you. If you see Phil, tell him we love him.
Who is your dream opponent?
I guess the one match I would love to have before I'm done is to wrestle Stephanie. That'd be so much fun.
I made her a deal. She came up and asked a question. I had to ask a question. So, following that one gentleman's question about your acting, if you ever do leave WWE, which would be your like dream role to do? Like, look at Nikita or redo the whole Xena series or something like that?
Oh gosh. I don't know. You know, I never really thought of that. But it definitely is some sort of, you know, badass chick who has a weapon and a really cool outfit. I like to think I try very hard to just dress like Lara Croft every day.
Nice. Thank you very much.
What are your 3 favorite things to do on a day off?
I'm so boring.
They give you days off?
I know, like that one day off a month. I like who I was before I started here is basically who I am like on my day off. Like I just stopped being putting makeup on. And so like I'm the worst. I will go home and I will get in sweats and like play video games and sit on my couch and eat really bad food. I am so boring. I like maybe work out, but like it makes me so happy to just sit. Like you know, like we don't get to sit a lot and like just do nothing. So that would, yeah, I'm the worst.
Thank you. Every time Caitlin speared you, it hurt you on the inside.
It hurt me on the inside. I think I can't have babies anymore.
I was wondering, what is your weirdest fan interaction?
I don't know about weirdest, because I think I am the weirdest person, and so I could never be like, that's a weird, like, no, like I can't. But I've had some scary, like maybe there should be a handbook of like, maybe don't do this. I walked out of a hotel room one time, literally opened the door and was in the hall, and somebody opened their door and like someone had found out where I was and booked a room next to me and was waiting for me to walk outside, and I was like, I could be dead right now. Like it's like sometimes it's like maybe just maybe that should be a rule, just a human contact rule. Yeah, so that would probably be the sketchiest.
And to follow up that guy's question about you being in a movie, I think that you could be the movie version of Bayonetta.
Ooh.
You should be.
She's put on my staff.
All right, so this isn't really a question, but I joked with you earlier about Swedish fish, and I just randomly stumbled upon some here. So here's some Swedish fish.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm back again.
There we go.
Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
I always had a very special love for Eddie Guerrero. There's something about like his attitude that reminded me of like my dad, and and what he was able to do, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, he was the same guy. And I thought that was so genius, like how you can just kind of tweak a little thing and make people hate you or do it, like, oh, I'm doing this terrible thing, but like you love me for it. Like that's so great. Like so I always wanted to kind of capture that and be a female version of that.
Whether you're a villain or a heel, I'll always be a big fan of you.
Thank you.
And I think you're the best in the world.
Thank you.
Well, I think that was our last question, but you are coming back to this town not too long from now.
Yes.
Is there any plans in motion? Do you know if you're going to officially be a part of it to some extent? Maybe you can't tell us, but...
I wish I knew. That is sort of the one thing I haven't done, which is wrestle. And I've been so lucky to be a part of it. Like last year there was no girls, there were no women on the show, it was just me. And so like I'm lucky to have been a part of it. I'm super grateful for that, but I want to wrestle. And it'd be really great if I still had this by then. But I don't know. So fingers crossed, good juju everybody. But I hope that I get to do that.
Excellent. What's your Twitter handle in case somebody somewho's not already following you here?
It's WWE AJ Lee. I'm a little bit of a hiatus at the moment, but
But appreciate your time today. Ladies and gentlemen,